Welcome to round one of the UIAA Ice Climbing World Cup 2023 from the beautiful city of Cheongsong. Known locally for its apple growing, the region is a hub for outdoor enthusiasts and culture seekers, and with its world-class competition wall, it's a mecca for the ice climbing community. We've already seen some breathtaking action from the ice wall here in Korea, and shortly we'll be ending this opening round with the lead finals, where the world's best ice climbers showcase their strength and agility as they tackle the technical walls here in Cheongsong. The aim of the game is simple: get to the top. However, the reality is anything but straightforward. The routes are set to be at the limit of the climber's ability, with crux sections to really test their skills. So here we are back in Cheongsong, one of the best venues on the UIAA Ice Climbing World Tour. It's really great to be here. My name's Tarquin Cooper and I'm going to be commentating throughout all of the action this afternoon. So we've just got observation going on at the moment. Athletes have about 10 minutes to look at the route before they take it on. But this is what it's really all come down to: the world's best climbers showcasing their talents in an attempt to win the lead difficulty crown. We've got 17 athletes from 9 countries in the final. The weather here is about 3 degrees Celsius, raining slightly, but nothing is going to dampen the spirits of these athletes. So let's have a look at the starting list. We've got 8 men and 9 women. On the males, we have Yonghae Kwon, Keenam Griscom, Tristan Ladavant, Mohamed Reza Safdarian, Virgil Devin, Hyung Park, Yonggon Lee, and Luna Ladavant. And the women's final lineup looks like this. We've got Olga Kosek, Catalina Shirley, Emir Mutswigan, Hunhwa Jeong, Haruko Takuchi, Ariane van der Steen, Dina Gertz, and Yunsun Shin from Korea. And Petra Klingler, who is the 9th athlete. We've got 9 athletes taking part because, of course, there was a draw in the semi-finals. That was between Olga Kosek and Catalina Shirley. They had exactly the same score in the semi-finals of 11-23-0. So it looks like observation is just ending. That's the time where climbers get a chance, their only chance, to examine the route that they're going to be climbing. They can take notes. They can take their tools. Often you'll see climbers standing there, holding their tools, working out the moves. They can use binoculars, but they can't actually use anything to record the route. So obviously no phones. And then what happens, they go into isolation. And that's pretty much exactly as it sounds. It's not a lot of fun. Its sole purpose is for them not to have any kind of unfair advantage by seeing the route, by seeing others climbing on it. So we've got 2 amazing routes here for these finals. The structure itself is an incredible structure. It's about 25 meters high, but climbers can expect quite often to climb almost double that due to the kind of traversing that they'll do. Often the route is 40 meters or so. So what I can tell you about the women's route, there are going to be 16 quick draws and to clip, and they have 8 minutes to get as high as they possibly can. Over on the men's side, the men have 18 draws and they have slightly less time. They've got 7.5 minutes to get to the top. Now, in theory, we should only see 1 or 2 tops max. That's how it's designed. In the qualifiers, we had loads of people reaching the top. It was kind of great as well because a lot of the athletes haven't climbed in ages, there hasn't been a world tour here for 3 years. So it's giving a lot of climbers, both 11 male and female athletes, a full experience in the qualifying stages. Cheongsong has hosted a World Cup tour stop since 2011, but this is the first time, obviously, due to COVID, that it's been able to host for 3 years now. But I hope we've all endured that drought, and it just makes it all that much better to be here now after enduring such a long wait. The wait is finally over. Cheongsong is back on the World Tour. And it's great. We've for the first time in 3 years, we've really got a proper World Tour going with athletes from all over taking part. We've got 3 stops: Cheongsong, next weekend Champagny-en-Vanoise, and weekend after that, of course, we're going to be in Saas-Fee, Switzerland. And many of the climbers in the final today, most of them, in fact, will be competing at both those tour stops. So that's really great. And for the first time in ages, we're going to have a proper fight for that World Tour champion. This is just the first stop. It's all about accruing as many points over the season as possible. You get 100 points for a win. So any moment, we're going to have the first athlete coming out. A little bit of a glimpse of the ice behind the structure. This, of course, is also a real ice climbing mecca, also man-made. The Koreans built made a huge investment about 20 years ago into developing this region as both a playground for ice climbing and dry tooling. Although this structure, as incredible as it is, it's actually only used for competition, which almost seems a shame. As you can see, all the panels are fresh and new. That's good news for all those foot placements. Just getting a glimpse of the routes here. Lots of interest going on. Hanging barrel of ice. Just the one ice barrel. No, it's quite a few ice barrels. Which thankfully have survived those warm temperatures that we've had in the past few days. So something to remember about the ice barrels is that if the ice degrades or falls apart, that's just kind of tough luck. It's not a technical issue if the ice breaks away. Adds a little bit of authenticity to the route, keeps the sport within its heritage is obviously ice. And there we get a glimpse of them. They have melted a little bit, I've been told, but they're still in good nick. What we found with the speed climbing is that due to the moisture, the ice is a little bit sticky. So picks were getting stuck. Better than fracturing and breaking away. So we can see the red is the boundary line. You can't go above that. I believe the women go up the left-hand side of the route and the men's route is off to the right, but I may need confirmation on that before confirming. It looks like we've got athletes turning up, starting to get starting to climb. Here we go. The women have started, and it is Olga Kosek. She has 8 minutes. Off to a quick start. And many athletes who quite welcome going first. Avoids all that hanging around in isolation. Just get it over with, get it done. And psychologically, you can only do better. I mean, Olga is ranked in last place. So you begin in the sort of descending order of how you performed in the semi-finals. So she only just got into the finals. And she's got absolutely nothing to lose at all. So psychologically, she's in a really great place. And plus, you get the fun of being able to watch everyone else afterwards. And of course, there's no advantage to going later. It's not like you're watching how people climb the route. The style is all on site, as they say. That's literally just start at the bottom, climb up, and figure it out as you go along. No practice, no working the moves beforehand. But in isolation, however, the athletes will have access to the holds. They could see, have a little play with them. So such as this one, it's just a little rock on a disc. All the holds have their own little unique characteristics. And it's good to know exactly where their sweet spots are. It's really important to know how to take the hold. Sometimes there'll be a little sweet spot on top. Sometimes it'll be underneath. Other times at the side. So Olga Kosek now working through this opening section of the route. Goes into Fig 4. Gives you a little bit of stability. Very confident climber, Olga. Looking pretty steady there into that Stein pull. The head of the tool flush against the back of the wall there. So named after pulling a beer. It's really strong climber, Olga, been competing since 2014, so she is a veritable veteran really on the circuit, and yet she's still only 31 years old. On the questionnaire that she filled out earlier, we gave a questionnaire to all athletes and asking them things like their strengths and weaknesses and what they perceived them to be. And she put as her strength her mind. It's a really important factor. You do need a very strong head. As for weaknesses, she said, I have no weaknesses. Presumably she was being slightly tongue-in-cheek. Maybe not. Certainly she's looking very strong here, working through these first moves before she gets onto barrel of ice. You'll often see athletes doing that, just getting the draw to get a bit of a swing on it so that it's easier to catch and clip. Quick draws, if you're new to the sport, they are what give you your score. So there are 16 draws for the women's route, and they give you your main result. You do get additional points for where you are for the move that you're on, and where you are in that zone. So, Olga, good demonstration of the figure 9 there. That same leg over the same arm. It serves a couple of purposes, keeping the pick weighted down. Also, of course, when you've got nowhere to put your legs, that's incredibly demanding on your upper body strength. So she's just getting a little bit tied up with the rope. Not sure how she's going to clip that draw. Yep, she's going to have to release the leg, get into the figure of 4 to free it up. Veritable gymnastics display here from this Polish athlete. Big 9. She's going to get that draw. She wants to get a little bit higher before flipping it. Tantalizingly close. She wants to get onto that barrel. Oh, and she's off. Just ran out of strength. That's it, all over for Olga Kosek. Great performance, though, from the Polish athlete. This looked like she struggled. I wasn't sure she'd left that tool there deliberately, but the fact that she wasn't kind of going for that quick draw, it seemed like she was getting a little bit of pump going on. But great performance there from Olga. We'll see her again next weekend in Champagny and in Saas-Fee. So this is now Young-Hae Kwon, who's already flying up this route. He's a very accomplished and efficient and fast climber. One of the older athletes in the lineup, 49 years old. In fact, there are a couple of climbers in the Korean team who are well into their 50s. So it does show that this is a sport you can do and compete and be competitive into later age. It also gives the slightly extraordinary thought that some athletes are as much as 30 years older than the youngsters coming through the ranks. So a reminder that the men have 7.5 minutes and they've got 18 draws to clip. So Kwon is one of Korea's strongest climbers, and he was second in last weekend's national competition. We'll be hoping he can get on the podium again in the world. He is the last to start. Excuse me, he's the first to start. He's the last to qualify for the finals, so he is at a little bit of a disadvantage. The others to follow did perform better than him on the semi-finals. But he's onto that first ice barrel. And he looks pretty comfortable in those Fig 9, Fig 4 positions. He, of course, has got a little bit of a home advantage. He'll know these holds intimately. He may even know the route setter. Might know that little bit of the style here. Each nation has its idiosyncrasies in how which holds they use. So a few minutes have passed. Gets the next draw. All about the draw. Reaches up on that reverse grip into a Stein. Great move there. Just shows his experience and confidence moving so quickly. Now onto that next barrel. He's got about another 3 minutes left. Reminder that the clock on the bottom right of the screen is not the official clock. It's just an estimate. So we've got all his teammates out in force here at the bottom of the structure, cheering Kwon on. Looking ahead. He's breathing hard. He's just a little bit stuck there. He needs to extricate himself from that situation. Difficult to see exactly what's going on. Tying himself in knots by the look of it. Oh dear. It's almost like a sort of Houdini escape, but he's got his feet on the plywood, and that should give him at least the stability to stop the bollard from spinning. And he's back on it, and he's spinning round. Is it enough to reach over? It is. Wow. To be able to place that pick in exactly the right spot while he was spinning around. That takes some doing. That is not something any dry tool climber can do. A little bit of a shake of the right hand before he moves a little bit higher up the shaft of his tool, and then gets that right leg over into the fig 9, and then left over left. So a couple of minutes left. Still some way to go. Is it going to shake? Can he keep going? Big kick with the right foot. Holding on. He's hanging in there. Hurting now. Definitely hurting. Little shake of the left. Can't quite get his feet on that bollard. You've only really got the front point, so it's very difficult to use your feet. They only work when you're able to just kick them in at 90 degrees to whatever you can put them in. So a reminder, you can put your feet anywhere in this sport. That is totally freestyle. Obviously not in forbidden zones. It's just on that little bit of rock. Still going and looking strong. Young-hae Kwon with less than a minute left on the clock. Oh, didn't quite get that draw. He needs to clip it quickly if he wants the points. Oh no! Second time. You know, athletes are not lying. Sometimes they do say the hardest thing is getting the draw. And especially when you're tired, you're pumped. Because last time it's timeout. I just heard that's unlucky for Kwon. Did really well, but he'll be a bit gutted that he didn't get that draw. Great performance from the 49-year-old. So next up is Catalina Shirley. She has had a busy day today. Taking part earlier in the speed finals, which will actually be resumed after the lead finals. They were taking place earlier, but they had to be postponed due to technical issues. So she just moves up that first sequence, reaches up for that Stein pull, or it looks maybe it's an undercling actually, where the head is not touching the wall. Makes it a little bit harder where it's sort of floating. You get a lot more wobble. So Kat really burst onto the scene last year, winning both the lead and speed at UIAA. She was also 14th in SAS Fei at the World Championship, so she's already done so well to get into the final of this World Tour stop here in Cheongsong. So she loves her lock-offs. Not a fan of dynos though. Now knowing these route setters, they will have put some dynos somewhere in there. So, probably near the top. Holds the body tension well with the left. Always tricky when it's at an angle. Now this is a good view of that Stein hold where you hold the axe the other way around. It's a reverse grip, and you can just really yank on it, hang a tank off that. Reaches up high, and that's the great thing about a Stein pull. You can really pull up and get high to the next hold. Looking really quite efficient here with her moves. Clearly she's worked them out in her head. She knows where she's going. Not much hesitation. Shaking out the arms. Nice solid kicks with the feet as she starts to approach the ice barrels. Has a good look around to see where she's got to go. Now the clock is ticking. You can't afford to hang around. You've got to keep moving if you're to stand any chance of getting on the podium in the finals. Rope management, of course, is also a part of the sport. Just not letting it get in the way, not tying yourself in knots. Clipping the quick draws in the correct sequence also is vitally important. You'll have to discontinue the climb if you clip them out of sequence. Now she's just reaching up into that volume. It's blind. We can't see exactly what she's on. It's a bit higher in the hold there. All the holds on the ice bollards do have pre-drilled holds, and they're easy to spot because you can see them. They've been marked in blue paint. Now this is the tricky part. I was mentioning the rope management. Knowing when to go for those quick draws. She might have to get a swing on it to then catch it. just a little bit stuck. Unfortunately, you can't hold the Fig 4 or Fig 9 position forever. Constantly need to change to give the arm a little bit of respite. She's got it. Oh no, and she's off. Oh, slightly banged into the wall there. So still another couple of minutes on the clock. Difficult emotions. You always think you can do better. You always think you can perhaps have done it differently. Just she got a little bit tied in knots trying to get that draw, but it's not easy. These routes are set at the maximum difficulty. But great experience there for Catalina Shirley, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of her on the world tour in the years ahead. Next up is the American teammate, Keenan Griscom. So he's have 7.5 minutes.
Now we have Keenan Griscom representing UIAA.
So he burst onto the scene a few years ago on the youth scene, coming second in Kirov. And really it's just been going strength to strength. Been climbing a long time, and it shows just the fluidity of his movements here. Just really something to just clear these first few quick draws with that amount of ease and confidence. You could be forgiven for feeling nervous or anxious, and that can always affect your performance. Now, first bit of overhanging section, he just really gives it a little test. You notice how once it places the pick, often you will see climbers just give it a little bit of a wobble just to check that it's good. Now, when it's pulling off to the side, that's always extra challenging because it really doesn't take much to ping. You've got to maintain that pressure, the tension. Keep the tool in exactly the same spot. Nice solid kick with the right foot there into the plywood. Basis of stability. Very different to sport climbing. You don't have the range of movement that you do with a pair of rock shoes on. You know, you've got so much ankle movement. You can't really smear with crampons on your sticking out from your toes. Your boot pretty much needs to be 90 degrees to whatever it's on at all times. Otherwise, that crampon will pop out. Now, Keenan looking really strong here, making easy work of this first ice bollard before reaching up onto the volume. This places his pick perfectly in the right spot, and that's where the upper body strength of youth comes in very useful. Lose your feet, not a problem, just pull up. Still only 18 years old. So he's still got a couple of years left in the youth circuit too. It's been several years since heel spurs were banned. There was a time back in the sport's early days where you could have had a spur coming out from your heel. Reason they were banned, I think, was they made it too easy. So Keenan really wrestling with this ice bollard. Struggling a little bit. Just trying to get his feet up. We can see now the high point that Kwon got to. Oh, and he's off. Great performance there, though, from Griscom Keenan.
Thank you for your efforts, Griscom.
And for sure, he has a very promising career ahead of him. We'll be seeing him, just checking, he's going to be in Champigny-en-Vanoise next weekend and Saas-Fee the weekend after. So he'll be looking, at least he's got some points now for the World Tour. Still get a very good result yet for that all-important title of World Tour champion. So this looks like Emma McSwiggan, who has just begun her route. All the way from Ireland. Emma was actually in Europe. She's lived many years in South Korea. She was in Europe earlier this end of last year, competing on the European circuit. I think she was at Bruno and Zelina. Very, very experienced climber who's been around for competing, I think, for almost 10 years now. I think she got into the sport back in 2011 when she was living in Korea. Got into it first through climbing waterfall ice and then discovered the competition side. Looking really, really strong here. All the more impressive because she did let on a few days ago that she was battling a little bit of a intercostal muscle issue in the ribs. Not unusual in this sport. You think about all the strain that all those muscles linking around the ribs are put under. But she mentioned that the doctor had advised her, like all doctors, not to do any exercise for a month. That was 5 days ago. Clearly very strong, and strong mind as well, not letting a little bit of bodily discomfort deter her. Not as strong as she was a few years ago. She's got that muscle memory. Really hard to fault the performance so far. We can see the high point reached by Catalina Shirley there on the graphic. Nice footwork there from Emir. She approaches the roof. 3 minutes have passed. Still another 5 to go. Just under 5. Looks like Ema has found her flow. She only got into just got into the finals in Zelina earlier this season. Didn't qualify for finals in Brno. Came 9th. And here she is in the finals. The World Cup. She was last here 3 years ago, only managed 21st place. Yeah, she must be happy with this performance, the way she's moving at the moment. Really, really solid climbing here from this Irish athlete. When you can combine experience, a really good head, anything is possible. Now this is where Catalina Shirley got into a little bit unstuck with that draw. Ema's looking a little bit uncomfortable there. Not entirely sure where she's going with this. Oh, and she's managed to extract herself. Matches with the right on that small hold. Well, she's got the pump, you can sense it. She's got that next hold. She will be moving into the lead now. Still several athletes to come. Still a couple of minutes left. She can just keep going like this. Figure of 4. Keep the pick weighted down into that Stein. Didn't quite get it. The reverse grip. Oh no, she hasn't. Looks like she hasn't quite found the sweet spot of that. Now she's having to change her position, give her arm a little bit of a rest because it is very strenuous. Now is that it? She's hoping so because she's committing. Dangerous territory. Oh, and she's done so well to get that Stein. When you move up through the move, there's a little bit of movement within her lower axe. Gets this hold with a side hang. Oh, lucky to save that. Big reach there. Get those feet over. Now maintain that tension. This is a really epic performance from Ema McSwiggan here. 44 years old. By her own admission, not as strong as she has been at other times in her career, and yet look at her here and now. Putting in one of her best performances. Just a few seconds left on the clock. That surely has to be the end of her route now. Yeah. She got the memo. Yeah, look, she's really happy. Really great to see. Really great to see. She'll be very, very happy with that. She set the bar really high for the other women to coming behind her. Just looks to confirm in her mind. But look at where she's come. There's the smile. There it is. Really happy. So this is Tristan Ladevant now from France, getting ready for his World Cup. So Ima moves into the lead with a score of 14-31-0. So you start with both tools in the same place, and the clock stops when you move your hand away from that first hold. And already he's halfway up. Tristan is the older brother of Luna Ladevant, and last year they had the, well, they said what they both said actually was the real high point in their climbing career resume of both standing on the podium. Luna, of course, taking #1 spot, and Tristan taking the bronze. And they both said that if they could replicate that, they would both be very, very happy. Great feeling, sharing the podium with your brother. So after really a lightning ascent up the first section, he's slowed down the pace a little bit now, just to be really sure with those pick placements. Important to know in this game when to go hard and fast, when to dial back, when to just rein it in a little bit, make sure everything is under control. Still, the high point is that set by Young Hae Kwon. They're really such great climbers, both Ladevant brothers. When Luna won in Cheongsong 3 years ago, it broke an 18-year drought for Team France, and they're really leading the vanguard, the resurgence. Lots of French athletes now in the team, all coming through the ranks. And we've got two more to follow, his brother Luna and Virgil Devin coming, all in the final. Oh no! Can he save it? Oh, what an heroic save from Tristan. That was close. Oh, once more. He's not going to be able to get away with that too many times. If nothing else, I mean, he's a strong athlete, very strong climber. He's got the upper body strength, but even then, he's still human, and you do hemorrhage strength in these kind of moments. Hanging in there, demonstrating a real fighting spirit. great bit of strength and skill to save that. I think a lesser climber would have been off there. So just over 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Plenty of time to set the bar just a little bit higher. Well, on the questionnaire we put to athletes, we did ask, how long can you dead hang for? And Tristan said, well, I'd need a week to try. And it looks like he's getting that wish. Clearly, hanging off those arms is not an issue. Just touches the wall with his hand just to try and steady that rocking movement, swaying from side to side. Has he got the hold? Can he commit to it? He thinks so. And on he goes. He's had a couple of really difficult situations and saved himself. Still he fights on. Oh, and he's off now. Oof. He struggled that. No one can accuse him of giving up without a fight. He really gave it his all. A big round of applause there for Tristan Ladevant. But he still thinks he could have done better. Made heavy work of it. Moves above Keenan Griscom's high point, which leaves him second in the ranking with still another 5 athletes to come. Now, straight on to the females, and this is Woonwha Jeong from Korea. So she's also made easy work of that opening section. She might just be the oldest athlete in the finals. 52 years old. Still a few years older than Yonghae Kwon. But it's not your age, it's your strength and agility and strength of mind that counts. Get a good idea just how sketchy some of these holds are. Obviously, as a climber, you'll have your preferences. Some athletes really hate the little shiny metal holds that you can get. Others absolutely love them. Stone holds are often very unpopular on account of the fact that they can degrade. So nice solid position here for Woonwha Jeong. So the women have got 8 minutes. Obviously, as a climber, it's easy to lose track of time when you're in your own bubble, in the moment. You are allowed to shout down below and ask the judge how much time you have left on the clock. So we've got a lot of Korean support below, willing their teammate on. She's one of 2 Koreans in the women's final. Of course, the other being Yeonsun Shin. Nice body tension here from Jeong. She moves up onto that volume. Little departure point for those hanging barrels of ice. Into the figure of 9 and gets all her weight onto that axe. Changes to the figure 4, frees that right arm up. Now these kind of moves should be second nature. These are the bread and butter stuff that these climbers do in their gyms. Though not always having to clip awkwardly placed drawers. That is something they also need to practice. Working through Fig 4, Fig 9. She got that draw. Great foot placement with her left foot. That's really just so precise. Was able to hold her position really steadily in a way that some other athletes like Catalina Shirley just wasn't able to. She was spinning all around. Just over 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Just got the rope caught around the handle of the tool. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, folks. You know, you've only got a limited amount of time that you can hold yourself in that position. You want to keep moving through the holds, but you've got to clip those draws. Miss a draw, and that's it. You may as well stop climbing, because that's where your score will end. Got to clip the draws in the correct sequence. Rules are really strict on that. Oh, and she's off. You often see that with athletes there. She put in a really great performance. She was looking really strong, confident still, working through the moves, and then suddenly she wasn't. And yeah, the energy, the strength just seeps out of the body, and when you've got nothing left in the tank, there's nothing you can really do. I mean, athletes like to say, they tell themselves to will themselves on, but when the tank is empty, the body lets you know. So Mohamed Reza Safdarian now begins his lead finals.
For the next, we have Mohamed Reza Safdarian representing Iran.
Now, he was also competing in speed earlier, and judging by his ascent here, he perhaps thinks he's still doing a speed. Certainly being able to move through opening moves very quickly and efficiently is a massive win, because it saves you time, it saves you energy too. So it's nice the way he just used his left hand just to feel that rock, just to confirm where the hold, where he had to place the tool in the hold and then place his tool in it, really with just the minimal amount of fuss. Total commitment, once again using the hand there, just check the pick was in the right place. Very quick climbing here from Mohammad Reza Safdarian. He sometimes has a little bit of an erratic performance. It was all looking so good for him in 2020. He went into Saas-Fee in the lead, but then flunked in the qualifiers. He won Rabenstein several years ago in Italy. And he's been competing here on the World Tour for 9. This is his 9th year now. First appearance in 2014. That experience certainly looks like it's paying off as he works through the ice bollards. Still 5 minutes remaining. Only 2.5 minutes to get up here. Going too fast though does come with risks. That's when mistakes happen. And this is a sport that mistakes get punished. It's a big reach there for Reza. Difficult. He doesn't have the longest reach. But he's never let that be a disadvantage. Proving that it's not all about height or arm span, your arm span. So, the high point set by Yonghae Kwon is not that far away. He's just got to get the next quick draw and move through a few more holds, and he'll move into the lead. And he's got 3.5 minutes on the clock. So provided there are no disasters. Now that's now the 11th quick draw. Good shake of the left. Does make a difference, climbers say. Shake out that lactic acid, get the blood flowing a bit. Just maybe buys you a little bit of time. Interesting with his left foot there. It's not really in. It's just resting for balance on that volume. Gets the 12th draw. Nice work there from Mohammad. Now where's he going to go? He is now setting the bar here. Ooh, close. Little bit of a pick wobble. Next up, this Sam hold. A little bit of a rock on a disc on this Before reaching now over to the left to the volumes. Looks like a pretty serious reach. Nice work there from the Iranian. Expertly done. Certainly he will be tired by now. Still a minute and a half left on the clock. You can see the tiredness when they start missing the draws. You know the dexterity is losing. That grip goes. And that's when sometimes you get to a point and they just peel off. You just can't hold it anymore. If he wants to get on the podium, he needs to really make the most of this advantage with a minute left on the clock to get as high as he possibly can. Top is not impossible. There are 18 draws in total, still 4 more to go. Can he do it? No. In fairness, he was looking tired. Great to see him on the route, otherwise unharmed. You can see there with his trousers peeled up that he was injured earlier during the speed climbing, and he's got his lower leg there bandaged. I'd forgotten about that. A reminder, you can actually see it looks pretty nasty, so really an extra round of applause should go to Mohammad Reza Safdarian for a very brave ascent, climbing, having earlier stabbed himself, not stabbed, but cut himself with his pick during the speed ascent. Clearly nothing was going to stop him from competing in the finals here, and who can blame him? Who wouldn't want to crack at this lead route? Really tough. The standard now is so ridiculously high. What these climbers are able to achieve is just literally next level. The next climber will be Haruko Takuchi from Japan. So she gives a bow and a wave. So let's see what she can do. One of Japan's top-ranked climbers, been competing since 2018. Interestingly, she has been based in Korea for a lot of the time. She joined Kwon's Dry Tooling Academy and trained there. She was 7th in last year's World Championships in Sasfe. You can see now a little of the challenge of when it's a floating as opposed to a stein. Just get a little bit more wobble, just a little bit more demanding on the rest of your body when you need to hold that position. Otherwise, Takuchi looking fairly comfortable and steady. Japan is another team. It's really great to see them come on. A lot of new faces emerging over the last few years. I think what's quite interesting is what we're not seeing, and we're just not seeing any of these athletes sort of fishing around for the holds, or they're just going for it quickly, placing the tool and moving through the move. No hanging around at all. Very little resting. So Emir McSwiggan will be watching from below, having that kind of strange mixed feeling that watching people who are your friends and you really want them to do as well as they can, but at the same time you're sort of maybe secretly kind of hoping, maybe not hoping, but you wouldn't be that upset if they kind of came off and you were able to win. Mixed feelings for athletes. Watching their friends and rivals. In a really great atmosphere here in Cheongsong. First time hosted a tour stop in 3 years. So you can imagine the atmosphere in the kind of athletes' village. A lot of the climbers haven't seen their friends for quite a while, since before COVID. And that seems a very long time ago. Takuchi now on the barrels of ice, this block of ice, and then it's that sort of vertical pillar. It's just proved really difficult for some of the other climbers who've come before her. Let's see how she takes it. The difficulty is not just in the moves, the sequence of moves, the fact that it spins and moves, it's also getting those draws. A reminder, this event couldn't happen without outdoor research. Thanks to their partnership, UIAA World Cup is able to take place. Haruko Takuchi from Japan has a good look around her. Just gets the rope on the other side of her, out of the way. She's in a good position, but she can't hold it forever. Needs to get a move on. Three minutes left on the clock. But she can't spend them just sat here enjoying the view. Got to keep working through these moves. Battling the pump. Battling the screaming muscles. Crying out for rest and respite. She now checks her feet placements. Now gingerly stands up. Has she got that hold? She's spinning round now. That pick is definitely not in the right place. Or perhaps it's in the right place, but doesn't look like it. Looks like it's very insecure, and it just skated to the left. It's moving all over the place. She's just got to get it under control. She's doing so well here just to keep herself still attached to this route. Matches with the right. She's making progress. She's lost a lot of time here, but she's still working through the moves. She hasn't come off. That's a big reach right to get that hold that's just on the other side of that volume. Has she got it? Can she commit now? Yes, she can, and she does. That must be really satisfying for her to get off that barrel of ice. A world of pain, and be on at least terra firma, even if it is upside down, and incredibly demanding on every last remaining muscle that you've got working. Big reach up. Oh, held my breath there, but the hold is good and really, really solid. So she's now looking within reach of Emma McSwiggan's high point, but with only a few seconds left on the clock, 15 seconds plus or minus. Really, she's just got to go for it now. Nothing to lose at all, and that will be the clock going. Great performance there from Haruko Takuchi. She managed to stay the distance, and that, of course, is half the battle. She will be fully pumped after that. Giving a big wave to the crowd and a little bow, which is a lovely gesture. Very Japanese. Perhaps it's a custom that should be taken up by others. So, wasting no time, straight on to the men. And this looks like Virgile Devin, the third Frenchman in the lineup to be in the finals. What a turnaround that is for Team France. A few years ago, nowhere to be seen. They weren't into this sport at all. And then the Ladevant brothers appeared a few years ago. And then this kind of tight-knit sort of group around Grenoble, which Virgile is part of that kind of group of climbers. They just started emerging in the last few years. As I say, I think the last time before Ladevant that a Frenchman won gold was way back in 2002. Virgile here, he's just a little bit unsure how to take this hold. A little feel with the left hand beforehand, as we've seen other climbers do. Good mates with Benjamin Bossard, young climber from Team Switzerland. And last year they climbed the Super Couloir Mont Blanc du Tacle. So it's not just the competition climbing he's into, but alpinism as well. And pretty committing alpinism at that. Not for the faint of heart, the Super Couloir. Very intimidating climb, but epic exposure. Virgile Devin, very, very strong, confident. Also a keen surfer in the summer months, likes to get on a board. Surfing and windsurfing. So Virgil will no doubt be hoping he can replicate the success that he enjoyed last year on the European Tour, which he won. Here on the World Tour, he's competing at all 3 World Tour stops. So it looked like there for a moment he was trying to clip the next draw with just one arm holding him in place. I think he's decided he needs his feet slightly in a better position. So he's got that figure of 9. Into that super solid Stein hold. Good Stein is just really satisfying for a climber. Can give you like a really good peace of mind. It's like a good jug. Virgil de Vat fighting his way through this middle section of the route on the ice bollards, which have been the source of so much pain for so many athletes today in these finals in Cheongsong. First stop in the 2023 UIAA World Cup Tour. 3 stops this year. This is just the first. So, Tavat makes his way to the last of the ice bollards. Needs a little bit to be a little bit higher in the move if he's to try and get that next bit of rock and the red disc on that green volume. There he does. Gets a little bit high, gets his left foot in. Is it good? Certainly got the strength, Virgil de Vat. However, it's worth remembering that last year at Saas-Fee he came off on a dyno. I think perhaps a little bit of a weakness for him. So far we haven't seen too many needs for a dyno yet on this route, but who knows what lies in store near the top. So he's got just over 1.5 minutes remaining on the clock to get past the high point set by Mohammad Reza Safdarian. Still 3 more climbers to come after him. Giving the good fight. He will no doubt be willing himself onwards now. You can rest when you're dead, is what he says to himself. And in those moments where you're just trying to hang and just trying to recover a little bit of strength. Great moves here. He now moves into the lead. And there's still another barrel of ice. Looks like 10 seconds remaining. Devin moves into the lead. And there's the dyno, and he sticks it. And there goes the clock. Great performance there from Virgil. He's super happy. It's a bit of juju from the crowd. Really happy with that performance. As well he should, because he just moves into the lead. So over on the women's side, Marianne van der Steen will be getting ready, coming out. Ready to show us what she's capable of. She was competing in the speed finals earlier, so hopefully that won't have drained all her energy. So a reminder that the speed finals, the female speed finals, was interrupted due to a technical issue, and we will be having the small final and the main final after these lead finals. So that will happen immediately afterwards. We'll be going straight into speed. So all the way from the Netherlands, Marianne van der Steen. She's tended to focus a little bit more on the European Cup in the last few years. And she was second on that, both in 2020 and 2018. The goal, though, still is to win the European Tour. It's funny, talking to Annie Bertling earlier, she said that winning last year, she felt her work was done. She could relax. But alas for Mariana, that t-shirt still needs to be ticked. The other goal for her is to make the podium on the World Tour. Now, if she's to do that, she's got to get past the high point set by Irish athlete Emma McSwiggan. Just the 14th draw. Big reach up. On a hold that looks less than solid. Did well, it just moved, it just nudged it actually into position. I think when she first had it there, it wasn't quite in the sweet spot. Lucky. Up into the Stein. Now here's an opportunity to move quickly. Up. Get up high. Stein just does allow you to really have a big reach onto the next hold. Gets the next draw. Kicks up with the feet. Some nice moves here from the 38-year-old. Let's see how she takes these ice barrels. Not something you can really train for exactly. You can get wooden ones, but it's only really on the competition format that you see these ice barrels. Obviously, they're fairly labor-intensive to make. Oh! Can she get back on? Can she do it? This is where strength and presence of mind come in, and she's blessed with both. Saves the situation. At what cost? Well, we will find out. Just keeping herself nice and steady. Trying not to swing around too much. Good demo of that figure of 9 position and just how solid it is. Keeping that axe weighted down. It's really looking not even like climbing this. This is gymnastics. This is an aerial display from Mariana. Moving through this kind of very aerial 3D kind of terrain. Climbers often talk about that sense of that feeling you've got three-dimensional. You're not just on flat ground. You're moving through open space. Nicely done. Not the fastest, but she's in control. And she's still climbing. Just looking for the optimum spot. It's not a very nice hold, that. It's not exactly a nice jug at all. Oh no. This looks terminal. Can she recover? Big shouts now for Mariana. Can she redeem? Pull it back. Look at that. Great pull up. Does well to get her legs up. Can see that chest heaving. No. Nothing left in the tank. So we will have probably a few minutes now before the next climb. Both tools are still in the ice barrel. Mariana quickly led away by one of the officials. Just in case one of them comes down, it could be very dangerous. So all the way from Korea, here is a local hero, Hyung Park. Nice start. Look at these moves. It's almost like he's dancing. Just flies up that opening sequence. still at the peak of his powers. Hyun Park, even though he's been climbing at the top end for over 10 years now. No sign of him slowing down at the age of 40. So already he is approaching the first of the barrels with 6 minutes remaining on the clock. It was even faster than Mohammad Reza Safdarian, and he was fast. Super strong. He's got his own gym. Trains super hard. Also famous for the meticulous care that he works his tools and crampon points, making sure they're razor sharp and in optimum condition. So he gets that quick draw. Really determined performance we're seeing here from Hyung. He had a disaster here 3 years ago. Crashed out. Didn't even make the finals. Must have been a bitter pill for someone who's won the World Tour 3 times. 2011, 2013 and 2017. And he has those years tattooed on his left arm. Just looking a little bit uncomfortable. Use his hand to steady himself. Stop the spin. Good work with the draws. Doing them as efficiently as possible, as painlessly as possible, will save you for later on, allowing you just to keep moving through those moves. Hyun Park, legend of the sport, not just competition, but alpinism in general. Done big expeditions in Alaska and Pakistan. Great ambassador for the sport. Great example to the sport. Just not sure about that hold. He's going to try and take it a slightly different way. It may be that the sweet spot, there's a little divot often. There's a correct place to put your pick. And the angle has got to be just right. And then as you work it, you've got to maintain the angle of the pick, maintain its position. And that in itself requires an incredible amount of body tension and core stability. We often assume this sport requires prodigious amounts of upper body strength, which of course it does, but it's also things like flexibility. So he lost a little bit of time earlier on, but there is a minute now to try and get past Mohamed Reza's high point and that set by Virgil Devat. Big reach left. Moves the feet over. He knows there's no time left on the clock now. He's just got to go for it. Big shouts from below. 10 seconds remaining for Hyun Park. Can he make the dyno? Can he get onto that ice barrel in time for just a few more points? Trying to get that draw first. He gets it. Dynos across just as the clock ends. Great performance there from Hyun Park. He may even move into the lead with that performance. The score is actually giving quite a low score for Virgil Devat, and it may be that Virgil committed an infringement and has been penalised. It's possibly missed a quick draw, so just seeking clarification on that. But currently online, the score, Virgil has him as in a lower position on the route. So I'm just being told on that point, Virgil Devat, his foot went behind the wall and hit the metalwork of the structure behind. So therefore that is an infringement. So therefore he gets a score up into that infringement. Reza also marked down for touching the red line on his first ice barrel. So that has mixed things up in the men's. But we are now back to the women, and we are now looking at Sina Gertz. Sina is a super strong climber, really self-assured. Had a disappointing year last year. She got COVID just before Saas-Fee and wasn't able to compete. But she absolutely has all the right attributes to be a world tour champion, even one of the greats of the sport. When she won the European Tour a few years ago, she won in some style, winning every single stop. So she gets her tool in this rather sketchy hold. No one's actually come off on it, but it doesn't look so solid. Care required as she moves into Fig 4. all about knowing where to place that pick. And still only 23 Sina Gertz. She came third 3 years ago. Her last outing in Cheongsong. Now coming over to the first box of ice. Let's see how she takes this. And she's off. It's the Fig 9. Uses the rope there, just clips that next draw. Back on the Fig 4. Using just her left foot just to keep her balanced. Now to reach this hold that's just out of our view on the volume. Reverse grip with the left. Sensible, deploys the larger muscles of the back. Takes a little bit of the weight off those bicep muscles. Now, she missed out a draw. You've got to get the draws in the right order. She's good. Onwards onto this next, again, rather sketchy hold. And from there, she needs to match tools. Just required a little bit of a wiggle to remove that hold, remove that pick from the ice. Matches tools. Gets into the Fig 4 now to reach right onto that volume. 3.5 minutes remaining for the Swiss athlete, Sina Gertz. Really good flexibility. You can see it there in her legs. She's not a huge fan of dynos though, or underclings for that matter. And the next move is something of an undercling. Two and a half minutes remaining for Sina Gertz. One of two Swiss athletes in the female final. Saving the best till last. That is Petra Klingler. Still in isolation. Just losing a little bit of time here, Sina Gertz. Trying to get past this last little overhang before she can get back on the face of this upper section of the route. Nice moves from Sina. effortlessly working through those sequences. Good body tension there off that side pull. Looking really confident. Less than a minute remaining though for Sina. But she is tantalisingly close to the high mark set by Emma McSwiggan. There's a little part of Emma McSwiggan probably hoping that no one would get past her, but it's not to be. Sina's got 30 seconds left now. Can she get number 15? 20 seconds. Oh no, and she's off. Unlucky, but she was absolutely at the limit there, just to get as high as she could in the remaining seconds. And that's always when little mistakes are going to happen. We've got to see the massive pole there behind her, ready to fish her quick draw, her ice tool, excuse me. So we're now watching Yangkan Li, the penultimate of the male climbers. Just a Luna Ladavant to come after him. Now he's already cruised up that opening section. So a reminder in the men that we've had a couple of athletes have been marked down. Both Mohamed Reza Safdarian and Virgil Devin were marked down for infringements. Mohamed Reza went a little bit out of bounds on one of the ice barrels. Crossed into a forbidden zone over that red boundary, and that is a big no-no. Virgil Devin, he also went out of bounds, and he had a foot that went on the outside of the route. But Yangkan Li looking really confident and self-assured here. Always tough for the athletes who've been waiting a couple of hours in isolation to then come out and perform, keep their head all the way during that time. And he's absolutely going for it. "29 years old. He won last weekend in the national Korean event. And yet last year in Sasfei, he only managed to come 22nd. Podium is a definite possibility for Yangkan. So the male leaderboard at the moment is currently headed by Hyung Park as a score of 14.29, followed by Young Hae Kwon with a score of 11.24. That is who Young-kun needs to get past to get onto those magical spots on the podium. Tristan Ladevant still lying in third place. The young gun moving his way effortlessly through these hanging barrels of ice. With just over 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock. It seems that he doesn't quite have time on his side. He's not as fast as some of the earlier climbers. But with both Devin and Reza being marked down, that has opened things up at the top. He doesn't need to get quite so high to get on the podium. Big cheers from Team Korea underneath now, willing him on with 2 minutes remaining on the clock. He's looking a little bit unhappy, struggling with this barrel. Can't seem to get his feet in. Can he take it that way? No. The juice ran out for Young-kun Lee, but still a great performance there from Korean athlete. This means that we only have one final male left to climb, and that will be Luna Ladevant. But before we come to him, it's back to the female athletes, and we've got 2 more to climb. Local favourite, and maybe the competition favourite, Yunsun Shin, and then Petra Klingler. It promises to be a great battle between those two to see who can take the crown of the first stop on the UIAA Ice Climbing World Tour here in Cheongsong, Korea. Yunsun Shin certainly not lacking experience. She's got 10 World Tour wins to her name over the years, which stretch back all into the distant past. Been competing for 15 years on the World Tour and the UIA circuit. Really, really impressive climber. Still at the top of her game at the age of 42. So at the moment, the men's ranking is looking like a 1-2-3 all to Korea, with Hyung Park, Young-hae Kwon and Young-kun Lee 1, 2 and 3. Tristan Ladevant has been pushed into 4th place. Only Luna Ladevant remains, and he will be hoping to upset that. So the high point for Yunsun Shin to surpass is that set by Sina Gertz, the Swiss athlete. Just now, score of 14.33, followed by Emma McSwiggan. who had a great performance, and a podium is still looking, it's a possibility for the Irish athlete. Perhaps a optimistic possibility when you factor in two of the most experienced and talented climbers that we have right now, Cheongsong Shin, and still to come, Petra Klingler. Shin makes it to the ice. Now, how is this star Korean climber going to take it? We've seen so many climbers come unstuck here and just grapple, both the men and the women. Exactly the same issues. Just trying to wrap their legs around, getting a little bit caught out with the quick draws. So far, so good for Cheongsong. Just moving through those holds, getting the sequence right. Again, this is something she would have done a million times in training. But it really adds a whole new element when that barrel swings and spins. Just makes life so much more difficult. She's just holding on. Can't really see, it's difficult to tell how close she is to that quick draw. She's going to use an axe to try and swing it. It's just tantalizingly out of reach. She's got it with that one. Now she needs to get off this barrel of ice and as quickly as possible. 4 minutes remaining on the clock. She's flying through, Cheongsong Shin. Are we going to see her on the podium? And if we are, in which place is it going to be? Just amazing flexibility there. Look at her hips. Just great. Crouched down like an insect, ready to launch herself up to the next section. Big reach left. Steps the feet over, maintains that tension. Got to keep that pick in exactly the same place. So with 2.5 minutes left now, there's nothing stopping her from going all the way into first place, overtaking the high points reached by both Emma McSwiggan and Sina Kurtz. Such a confident and strong climber. Shin, it's really a masterclass here now. Oh no! Tempted fate. She's really upset. Just the shock of it. The shock of it. It was all going so well, and that is just the nature of this sport. 1 second you're looking like you are totally on it, and then one tiny little mistake, that pick is just oh so slightly in the wrong position. Maybe it's just a little bit of movement and ping, you're off. It will be no comfort to know that it happens to the very best climbers. Certainly not for Cheongsong. Still, that does put her into the lead. Looking at the scorecard now. Now, last man to go in the men is the Frenchman, Luna Ladevant. Currently the world's #1. Is she going to upset Korea's 1, 2, 3? He's hoping he can. Both tools go into the starting position. And he's off. Now, you need to pay close attention because this is a man who doesn't hang around. He waits for no one, especially on these early sections of the route. Just clips those draws so quickly. The way they move the legs, it's just unbelievable. 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. Just gets them nice and high. Now, he needs to slow down just a little bit. Just make sure he takes these holds the way that is intended. Luna Ladevant, really one of the most impressive climbers on the tour at the moment. The speed, his fluidity. He recently teamed up with Petra Klingler, Red Bull Dual Ascent, the kind of novel format climbing contest, pitting climbers from all different disciplines up this giant dam in Switzerland. He paired up with Petra. They got into the semis. But this is where it's really at. The UIAA Ice Climbing World Tour. And Cheongsong is stop #1. The question is, can anything stop Luna? Just gifted with massive amounts of strength, agility, flexibility, and also a monster ape index. He's got a ape index of plus 12. Oh no! It's all over. Devastating. He's upset. He can't believe it. He cannot believe it. And nor can I. What happened there? He just doesn't know. It's just going so well. One tiny little mistake. He's cursing himself. He's angry. Justifiably so. No, 2 hours he's been sat in isolation, psyched to win this event. And he just wants to turn back the clock, and he can't. These things happen. Will we get a replay? Such is his reputation, it's easy to assume that it's a given that he would just top. Rarely makes a mistake. And like Cheongsong just discovered, it happens to the best of them. So that means now that Petra Klingler now is the last climber today in these finals. Cheongsong has the high 0.0. So she has 8 minutes to get beyond quick draw number 14. Devastating for Luna Ladova. And it means happy news though for Korea. They get the 1, 2, 3 for them. Petra, really one of the most all-round experienced female climbers out there. Bouldering world champion 2016, of course. Also a competitor on the UIAA ice climbing circuit for most of the, I think about from 2013 to 2019. Also competed at the Olympics and the inaugural games 2020, Tokyo, now back competing in ice climbing. Although she did say that she's focusing on the bouldering, back on the bouldering at the moment, and only picked up a pair of tools in December. Fortunately, it looks like she still remembers what to do. Not the kind of thing you forget when you've been competing for as long as she has. Making steady work of this opening section of the route. Holds that body tension. She now moves towards these 2 blocks of ice. You've got the block and then the pillar. Cylinder is just really, really difficult. Swinging from side to side, spinning. Let's see how Petra takes it. At the current rate of progress, if you were a betting person, you'd say she's going to move swiftly through it. But as we've seen all too often, this is a very unforgiving sport and has a way of punishing the complacent, punishing just the smallest of mistakes. Gets high in the figure of 4 there. Doing these moves really nicely. She cites her own strengths as power and experience. That's what she can rely on to get her out of difficulty. Suffers a little bit on lack of endurance, she says, but don't really believe it. Can't believe it. Just taking her time here to really make sure that pick hold is good. It's not a great hold, that. Very positive move onto the plywood. Onto the main structure. Manages to get that Stein. Really good. Oh, that was close. Very close. She can't afford to do that too many times. For all our sakes. Good work. Petra manages to stick it on the second go. Perhaps she is enough just to give her a little bit of a scare. To redouble the efforts to make sure no mistakes. So she's starting to approach podium territory. Emma McSwiggan's high point is not far away. Quick draw number 14. And 2.5 minutes remaining for Petra. So barring no disasters, podium is definitely within sight. Will we see our first top in the finals? Haven't seen anyone top, no one topped in the men. Perhaps Petra will be the one to do it. So sadly for Emma McSwiggan, Petra now moves ahead. And Emma is, oh no! And Petra comes off. This is full of surprises. This final's absolutely devastating. Some of the best climbers, both coming off, Luna Ladevant and Petra Klingler. However, Petra was in, we'll have to wait for the final scores to come through. She was in the lead position. So not quite as devastating as it was for Luna Ladevant. So for that brings it to an end the women's and the men's finals, and the final scores for the women. The gold #1 position will go to Petra Klingler, despite just peeling off then. Second place goes to Korean Yun Sun Shin, and the third goes to Sina Gert. Sadly, Emma McSwiggan moves into 4th place. Over on the men's side, it's a 1, 2, 3 for Korea. So just looking a bit more at the female rankings. 4th, Haruko Takuchi. 5th goes to Mariana van der Steen. 6th, Wu Huazhong, and Olga Kosek takes 7th, and Catalina Cherny also into 8th place. So over on the men's final, the win and the silver and the bronze all go to Korean athletes. So it's Hyung Park, Younghae Kwon, and Hyungkun Lee who take 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, with Tristan Ladevant taking 4th, Keenan Griscom 5th, Luna Ladevant into 6th place, Mohamed Reza Safdarian 7th, and Virgil Devant into 8th place. Very disappointing for 4 athletes there who were either dropped out early or marked down. But that brings to an end an epic display of climbing action. We hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you again next weekend when we'll be in Champagny on Vanoise. Now, that's normally the point we would leave it, except this year is slightly different here in Cheongsong, because we weren't able to finish the speed climbing in the women's finals due to a technical incident. So we're going to go back to the women's speed finals to finish that off. For the place for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, we've got the small final and the big final coming up, and that is going to be between Aneta Luseka, Suki Lee, Olga Kosek, and Catalina Shirley. Those are the 4 remaining athletes. So it will be Shirley and Kosek duking it out in the small final, and Aneta Luseka and Suki Lee going for the big final. But nothing is certain. Had quite a few technical incidents earlier with the women's speed. hopefully they will be out fairly shortly. It will be the small final that happens first, and the big final, the main final for first and second place, will happen afterwards. So we'll know soon enough. Okay, so we've got the small final about to kick off between Catalina Shirley here on the left. And it should be Suki Lee on the right. Excuse me, Olga Kosek. Kosek on the right. And Catalina Shirley on the left. So this is the battle for third place. And it's shoulder to shoulder, pick to pick. It really could go to any of these climbers. Shirley nearly came off. I think Olga Kosek had it. Difficult to call. So they now swap sides. Kosek moves to the left. No, that's it. So Olga takes that and comes third. Olga Kosek takes the third, and Catalina Shirley is in fourth place. So now we have the final between Aneta Luzheka and Suki Lee from Korea. Tough for both Olga and Catalina, having just come off the lead finals. So I'm just being informed that they may yet get another go because there's something wrong with the stop panel, the timer mat. Four climbers anxiously awaiting Aneta Luzheka, Suki Lee, Olga Kosek and Catalina Shirley. Okay, so we've got Katalina Shirley and Olga Kosek back on position, ready to battle for third place. And they're both off. It looks like Olga has just got the lead, fighting hard, but it could go Catalina's way. Catalina now seems to have inched ahead. It's absolutely neck and neck. But it is Katalina Shirley who takes that heat. So now they should swap over. So it's going to be very close, but Catalina looks as though she's got it. Looking at Olga, though. Olga has managed to get ahead. It's Olga's got it. Catalina. Oh, no, Olga has off. Catalina is through. And it will be Catalina who takes third place. She gets on the podium. Manages a little wave. So next up, Aneta Luzeka on the left. And Suki Lee on the right. So this is the battle for first place in the women's speed here in Cheongsong. Aneta Luzeka. It's again very, very evenly matched. It could go to either one. Luzeka, Lee, it seems like it's Lee. Lee's got it. Lee will have it. Lee will take the gold and Luzeka takes the silver on that heat. But they do it again, and it's the combined time that counts, of course. So provided Lee can win the second heat again, she will take the gold. It all comes down to this. The final heat. The final bit of action here in Cheongsong at the UIAA Ice Climbing World Cup as these two athletes battle for gold. And it's Luzeka who seems to have it, but no, she stumbles a little bit. It's Lee who's gained ahead. Lee, it's millimeters between the two. Lee gets it. It's Lee who will take the gold. Almost certainly just waiting for confirmation from the judges. She's convinced she's got it. So, what a brilliant day of climbing action. Suki Lee takes the gold, Aneta Luzeka into silver, and it is Catalina Shirley who takes the bronze. So apologies for that, for the technical issues that caused that delay, but we hope you enjoyed it in the end. Thanks for watching. That's all from us here in Cheongsong. We look forward to seeing you next weekend for more of the same in Champigny-en-Vanoise in France.